Welcome to the Google Fundamentals Training Unit 9. I'm Mr. Alex, and in today's video, we're going to be looking at building interactive lessons. Our goals for today are looking at simple steps to evaluate sources, understanding and narrowing search results, avoiding plagiarism, and exploring creativity, curiosity, and customization in Google Chrome. Let's get started. Let's kick off today's unit by looking at Google search. So we can see in google.com that we have the search box here. We also have this thing up here that's called the Omnibox. And the Omnibox allows us to basically type anything that we're looking for. It could be a website or it could be the search words. So if I looked for cat, I would pull up results of cats. If I typed in the Omnibox cat.com, it would take me to cat.com. So that Omnibox is whatever you want it to be. Let's go back to our search results for cat. So what we're going to really be looking at is how we can be specific to find something that we're looking for. So right now, we are researchers in a science class, and we need to do a report about cats' digestive systems. So let's look at our results. Right now, we can see some funny videos up at the top of cats playing a guitar. We can see top stories, common things that people like to read. And then we can see what people were asking about cats. And then the rest of the regular search results down below. There's this other thing on the side that we call a knowledge graph. And the knowledge graph will have sort of like tailored information for that search result, and it will depend on what you're looking for. And in this case, it has some cute pictures and some cat eating a mouse and some Wikipedia information about different breeds. And then it says, oh, did you want to find more information about Caterpillar, the construction company, that website I was looking at a second ago. So knowledge graph is kind of like something that depends on what you're searching for, and it's kind of like helpful information. Now, in our search for our scientific report, we can also see that we have these filters. So I could see images of cats, videos of cats, news about cats, or more. We can also see that we have settings where we could maybe go to an advanced search and look for something specific, which we're going to do in just a sec. We can also see stuff about our data and our history, which would be cool if you were doing a lesson about privacy. We can even turn on safe search, which would help us to block explicit results, change languages, and other kind of stuff like that. Under tools, we can see that it pops up this little box that says, when were these websites published? We can even make a customized range if we want to find something very recent in the news, perhaps. We could even search for the kind of language in the result. So for right now, in our search to find more information about cats' digestive systems, let's go back to settings and click on advanced search. So we can see that there's this area here where we can write or we can choose things. And on the right, we can see that there's more information about those different boxes. Let's look at a couple of them. So it says find pages with all these words. Okay, so cat, let's try digestion system. And none of these words. Okay, I don't want to find anything about dogs. And let's keep going down. Narrow my results by language. So maybe if I'm a bilingual person, I might be able to find something in another language, let's say Chinese, that could be published by teachers or doctors or scientists in that language. So this could be actually really helpful if I was bilingual. I speak English, so I'm going to stick with that one. And as we come down here, we can see site or domain. So you could type it just as a random one. What if I wanted to just search within Amazon? In this case, I'm not doing research on Amazon, so I'm going to actually remove that one. It might be New York Times, nytimes.com if I want to see news reports about cats' digestion. In this case, that probably doesn't make sense, so I'm just going to search all of the internet. Safe search, as I mentioned before, we can filter explicit results that we might not want to show to our students. And file type is what I'd like to look at right now. So file type says, would you like to find maybe a PowerPoint file? Maybe there's another teacher who's sharing his or her presentation about cat digestion system. So let's click on that. And come down to advanced search, and let's click that. So what I see, oops, I see that I spelled something wrong. So it says, did you mean? Awesome, thanks for fixing that for me. So I have all of my keywords. And we can see now the results have these PPT letters in square brackets before all of my results. So now if I click on one of those, I'll download the PowerPoint file, and it might be really helpful for what I'm doing. So let's come back up to my results up at the top. We can see each of the different words here, cat digestive system, and then there's these like little things, like these little symbols, like a minus sign. So minus dogs, meaning I don't want to find dogs, and then file type, colon, PPT. So here is an article published by Google about just that. So we can see some of the green terms here. So let's say that we wanted to find something from social media. We could put an @ sign in front of it. If we wanted to exclude a word, we would put a minus sign in front of it. So this article is going to be down in the description. Please use it if you want to type out some of your terms like this manually, or you can go to the advanced search and it'll help you to write it for you. Okay, so let's say I found my PowerPoint file. This is so helpful, but you know what? For my report, my science report about cats, I need to find a really good picture that's kind of like a scientific diagram. So I'm going to jump back over to settings and advanced search. I'm going to go back down to the bottom here. And under file type, I'm going to say any format. I'm going to get rid of that. I just need a picture right now. But there's this one other section I'd like to share with you that's called usage rights. So the first option says there's no filter, so it's basically off. The next option down says free to share or use, which means that the artist, the creator, maybe the photographer, the songwriter, the author, has said, you know what? I'm going to give people on the internet permission to use this. And in this case, it would probably be like sharing on social media. And as we go down step by step, it gets a little bit more free. Finally, the last option down here is the most free, most open. It says you're free to use it for your own purpose, maybe for your class. The next one says share, so you could put this on social media and post it. Modify, you can change it, remix it, make it your own somehow, and have parts of what I've created. And you can do all of that stuff even if you're a business. So this one is like the most absolutely free, like the person is like, I don't care, I'm just putting this out there, do whatever you want with it. Let's see what people said. All right, so I guess this is pretty good. My search results look okay. Let's click advanced search. And let's go down to pictures because I need a picture for my report. Wow, look at all these scientific reports. Diagrams, I mean, not reports. Awesome. So here's a picture. I could click it and let's say that's the right one for me and what I need to use. Perfect. I'm going to stick that inside my report. So in the next part of this, this video for today's unit, we're going to be looking at, well, when we do a search, how do we know if we can rely on it? And how can we evaluate those sources? So I'm going to kick it back to Google right now, and we're going to take a look at one of their videos. And I will see you again afterward.
With Google, students have the world's information at their fingertips, and it's really so much information they can't possibly digest it all. The biggest challenge is for them to look at websites and decide whether they're containing reliable information. There are some simple guidelines that I use to help my kids understand the importance of evaluating information on a website. The first thing is to have them look at the URL. Like, is it a .com? Is it a .edu? Is it a .gov? How might that affect the information that the website is presenting? I teach them not to be fooled by cool or professional looking sites. Just because it looks really slick doesn't mean that it's super reliable. And a lot of times they look like super put together, they have flashy animations or things like that, and the kids are really kind of tricked by it. They think that it has to be true because it looks really awesome, but the information is pretty bogus. I have them ask themselves, what's the point of view of the site, and what are they trying to maybe get me to believe? Also, what opinions or ideas might be missing from the site? If possible, they should find a website's publisher and investigate the source. Sometimes just a simple Google search gives you really good insight to what the website or the company's biases might be. Students should always double check any facts that they find. And beyond just double checking, they should follow the rule of three. The rule of three is really making sure that you're comparing 3 different sources to make sure that your information is really valid. It's also important to make sure that you include one source with an opposing viewpoint. After students have found information which is from a reliable source, the next step is helping them understand that just because the information they find online is free to access, it doesn't mean that it's free to use. They have to accurately cite any work they obtain from the web to be academically honest. Their ability to filter images with a Google search based on the usage rights makes it really easy for students to find images with the appropriate copyright that they can then use in their work.
All right, the third and final part of today's video is looking at some of the great things that Google Chrome, the browser, can help you do. So I'm just in a regular window here, and what we're going to do is actually sign into Google Chrome. So why might we sign into Google Chrome? One of the benefits is that it can synchronize all of your favorites. So you can see I have my address bar, my favorites bar here with all of my addresses that I commonly go to. And if I go to another computer and I sign into Chrome, it'll look exactly the same. It'll also synchronize the settings in terms of the color. Do you see how I have a theme installed? I made my, my Google Chrome browser dark along the top bar. So I installed a theme. So if I go to another computer, let's say my work computer, it's going to look exactly the same in that regard as well. It'll also save your history and any of your other settings that you might have set up. So signing into Chrome can be actually really, really helpful to synchronize things. So if you'd like to sign into Chrome, try clicking on this little icon up at the top, and let's click on Manage People. So you can see that I have 4 different accounts already that I'm signed into. And if you're doing this for the first time, you can just click on Add Person. So I really like pizza, so I'm going to choose pizza for this person, and I'm going to describe this account. So I'm going to just call this one work. So this is like my work account. Okay, let's go down to add. Make Chrome your own. Great. Set up your browser in a few simple steps. Get started. Add bookmarks to your favorite Google apps. Yeah, so we just talked about that. All right. So, oh, look, we could actually click these things and say, oh, yeah, please bookmark Gmail for me. Look at all these things that are appearing for me automatically. So nice. All right, let's continue. And this is where we're going to sign in. I'll put this back to English. This is where we're going to be signing in, writing our username and our password, and that's it. You're off and running. So the great thing is if you have multiple accounts, then you can switch between them. So right now I'm signed, if I had finished this, I would be signed in as my work account, but I've got my other account here that says Alex. Oh, that's my personal account. So when I want to do personal things with, I got Facebook bookmarked, or I need to do banking or something like that, I'm going to switch over there. And then when I need to do stuff that's facing my students, I'm going to switch back to this work account. So it's pretty easy. You just switch between different windows by clicking on that. So the next thing I'd like to show you is the Chrome Web Store. So I just went to a new tab and I searched for Chrome Web Store. And I'm going to just go to the first link there. So the Chrome Web Store is a place where you can actually get little programs called extensions that we can install inside of our Chrome browser. So I'm going to click on extensions here. And we can see it's similar to like the iPhone App Store or maybe the Android Play Store where you can get apps for your device. Well, this is like apps for your Google Chrome browser. So look at all these different things that you can get. So there's stuff about gameplay, about your Chrome toolkit. Wow, there are all kinds of things here. So one that I would like to share with you today is Save to Google Chrome. This is a great one that I use all the time. So when I click on that, it's going to open up. That's going to tell us about how many people are using it, what more information like reviews. It'll give you an example. And you can see when we install it, this is what it does. It runs this little thing. So let's give it a shot. Let's see what it does. So I'm going to click this blue button and add to Chrome. Do I want to do it? It can read and change all your data on the websites I visit and also display notifications. I think I'm going to trust it. I think I'm okay with that. All right. So it says Save to Google Drive has been added to Chrome. Use this extension by clicking on this icon. Manage your extension by clicking extensions in the window menu. Okay. So what if I wanted to save something to my Google Drive? Well, let's say I want to save this website right here. So I could click on it. It's going to think for just a sec. So let's say that we wanted to save something to our Google Drives. So I'm going to open up a new window and let's try going to the NewYorkTimes.com. Okay, so here's an article about a storm happening in India. All right, so what if I want to save that to my Google Drive? I'll try clicking on this little button. It's going to think for just a second. It's spinning there. You see how it's kind of moving through the whole article? And now it's actually uploading it to my Google Drive. It's going to say done. All right, I'm going to say close. And let's jump back over to my Google Drive. So now in my Google Drive, there's this new file. It says Cyclone, Live Updates, Powerful Storm. So if I click that, this is so awesome. It took one long screenshot of the entire article and saved it as a picture. This is so helpful if I'm doing research. Now I've got a copy, like a photocopy of that article. So that's super helpful. So that was that particular extension. Let's go back to the Chrome store and let's look at some of the other things it might have for us. Let's just go back up to the top. There's another one that I really like that's called Grammarly. It'll help check the grammar and the language that you're using on everything that you write. And they've even got a little video that we could play, and it'll show us.
Let's suppose that you're.
Show us kind of some samples of what it can do. So I could click on Add to Chrome. Okay, I've read what it can do, and I'm okay with it having access to that information. I'll click on Add. And then after a moment, it's going to load. So we can kind of repeat this process again and again as we're going through different things that we need to be able to do. We can even click on Search. So if there's something that you like to do, let's say calendar. Oh my gosh, I need to use a calendar all the time. Look at all these different things that can help us with calendar. How about images? Like if we need to search for pictures, we need to work with pictures somehow. Image downloader, look at all these different things that we can do. So Google Chrome has the flexibility to help you out with all kinds of things. And in fact, Google Chrome actually has a couple things built into it along with Google Search that you might not know about. So one thing that we also might search for is like a timer. So we can do something like 5-minute timer. Just hit that and boom, it's going to start counting down a timer for us. So this is really helpful if you're a teacher and you say, everybody, you got 5 minutes to do this activity. It's just one quick search away. You can even do some mathematical searches. So you could say 5 minus 3. I'm going to say leave my timer. So when I say 5 minus 3, it pops up a little calculator there, and we can continue to do some more searches. One more thing that I often like to do is also currency conversion. So you could say 1 US dollar in Vietnamese dong. And it shows us the current exchange rate. I think that's so helpful. The very last thing I'd like to do is define a word. So we learned earlier in this video that we could have some kind of modifiers or operators that help us to search for something, like, you know, we did minus dog, like don't show me results of dog. But here's another one. You can do define, colon, and then write your word, like happiness. So when we do that, we say define, colon, and then the word, it will pop open a dictionary search for you. So we can see the pronunciation. We can even click and hear how to say it.
Happiness.
Perfect. And we can see synonyms. And if you'd like more information, you can click on the little drop-down arrow. That's so helpful. All right, so that is the end of today's video. I hope that it's been helpful for you. Learning the different ways that Google Search and Google Chrome can help you to find the right information and search smartly. I'll see you again in the next video in Unit 10. Take care.